to go in, and I'm going to have an opportunity. Must have been away for a while. So at this point, so first of all, this gives God just the privilege of being, the hand clap of praise for being back in this place one more time. The last week, this time, we all snowed in, and I'm telling you, it's nothing like going through. I mean, you can go through and hug your finger, but it's one thing. It's nothing like coming to the house of the Lord with the people of God to get a hug, so that you know everything's going to be all right. So you give God one more hand clap of praise in Jesus' name. So today we want to go back in, and we have gone this entire year looking at this term and this word, extraordinary, and spent. So we've come now, we have 2 more Sundays left in this year, and this month we're talking about this word yoked. And we first started talking about the yoke. I remember on New Year's Eve of last year, we laid out all of the scriptures that we had for the year, and first talked about yoke. The very first thing some people said was at this point about unequally yoked. So the question, how many of us ever heard about being unequally yoked? Amen. So the question is, what does it really biblically mean to be unequally yoked? That's the real question. What does it mean to be unequally yoked? Now, we have added a whole lot of mustard to Scripture that has nothing to do with what the Scripture has to say. And we've gone back in here and applied it in a way, and we've extrapolated it there. And so I want to offer, we've narrowed that view of being unequally yoked down to one area. But we want to talk and really look biblically about what's the context about what it meant to be unequally yoked. In other words, in order to understand the content, we have to know what? Context. You cannot take a scripture out of context and in turn understand what the real meaning is behind that. So I'll give you an example. We talked about this before. From John 8:32, it says, "You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free." Does the truth set you free? No. John 8:32 said, "And you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free." Does the truth set or make you free? No. But the scripture says in John 8:32, "You shall know the truth." If you apply. And the truth shall, now again, so we take that out. So let's be clear about this. Knowing the truth doesn't stop folk from speeding. Knowing the truth doesn't stop folk from eating pork. Knowing the truth doesn't stop folk from going out on some Twinkies. So the idea is not about just knowing the truth. It says over in John 8:31 first, "If you continue in my word, you are my disciples indeed, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free." So in other words, what's going to set me free is continuing in the word that I've already learned. It's continuing to apply the word I've learned. So in other words, so as we take a look at this scripture today, you can just write that, you see it right now on your outline, from 2 Corinthians chapter 6. Verse 14 talks about this idea of being unequally yoked. So again, what I want to do is lay a very quick foundation where we're headed today, and really be clear about what it means biblically to be unequally yoked. So this is what a yoke was, and it is now. So particularly in biblical days. So both heads went into this, and so in this case, you could argue in this case that these animals here are equally yoked. You see, you have the oxen there, you have the beam there, you have the pegs there, the strap there, and also the hitch point as well. So you could argue that these are equally yoked based on their size, based on their strength, based on how they look as well. But would you agree, are these equally yoked? And you would have to agree with me that there have been times in life, this has been us, that there were times, not now, I'm talking about times in life where there was some unequal yoking going on as well. So here's the question. When you normally hear about being unequally yoked, what do you normally think about? Anybody? When you normally hear unequal, what's the context normally when you hear unequally yoked normally? Marriage, exactly right. Marriage and dating. Now, while it is true that is the case, in the context of the scripture, there's no mention about marriage at all. May as well come to church. So this is what we're going to do here in the context now. Now let's be clear. The principle can be applied certainly to dating and marriage. But that's not the context when this was brought up. So it is not wrong to talk about marriage. It is not wrong, but we cannot limit it just to dating and marriage, because that's not the context in which we find this content. So if we look at Romans, in fact, let's read this. Stand up if you would. Let's just read this together from 2 Corinthians, if you would. In fact, I'm ready. To receive the word. I'm excited about receiving the word. I'm prepared to receive the word. Now, although we're looking at 2 Corinthians chapter 6, look up here if you would. We're going to read these together from 7 through 13 together to give us a context for the content. So let's read this together. Now, this is Paul talking. He's writing this letter, this second letter to the church of Corinth. Corinth was so jacked up they didn't have two letters. And in the midst of all that was going on, Paul is trying to say, now here's the context. You have Paul saying, by being saved by grace and faith in Jesus Christ, that's enough. You had people who were Jews saying you got to be circumcised by your flesh to be pleasing to God. And so what has happened now, the believers are being drawn away by this heresy that goes on. So let's read this together from 7 and we'll go through 13 together. This is Paul saying, we faithfully preach the truth. God's power is working in us. How many of you know right now God's power is working in you right now? And how many know God's power is working in you right now in the name of Jesus? Keep going now. We use the weapons of righteousness in the right hand for attack and the left hand for defense. We serve God whether people honor us or despise us. Good God from Zion. Whether they slander us or praise us. We are honest, but they call us impostors. We are ignored even though we are well known. We live close to death, but we are still alive. Keep going. We have been beaten, but we have not been killed. Our hearts ache, but we always have joy. We are poor, but we give spiritual riches to others. We own nothing, yet we have everything. Oh, dear Corinthian friends, we have spoken honestly with you, and our hearts are open to you. There's no lack of love on our part, but you have withheld your love from us. Verse 13. I am asking you to respond as if you were my own children. Open our hearts to us. Amen. You may be seated in the presence of the Lord. So Paul is saying here that we are going in the power of God's working in us. And we are trying to declare this word the best we can. And we have all these challenges going on to us. And not only that, Paul says, we love you so much, but we're not getting that love coming back. Now, that's verse 13. Now we pick up verses 14 and 15. Now read this. You don't have to stand up. Let's read this together, ESV. Do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. For what partnership has righteousness with lawlessness? Or what fellowship has light with darkness? What accord has Christ with Beliebers? I'll tell you what that means in a minute. Or what portion does a believer share with an unbeliever? There is nothing in this whole chapter that's talking about dating and marriage, although you can certainly apply that to dating and marriage. What it's really talking about here is we must be equally yoked with friendships and partnerships and in relationships. The relationship, you have marriage and dating comes under it, but it's not just talking about that. It's talking about being unequally yoked in any interaction we have all together. It's talking about being, here's what happened. Because, please write this verse down. 1 Corinthians 15, verse 33. It says, evil communication or evil behavior corrupts good manners. In other words, folk will become who they hang around. So why would I be unequally yoked to an unbeliever when I'm trying to keep serving God? So it's not just dating. So here's the point. There are people who have applied this scripture here for relationships and dating and marriage, but won't apply it to friendship. They would apply to dating and relationship, but won't apply it to partnership. We go in and I'm taking this thing seriously. If folks will give me a massage, I gotta know what they say. I gotta be clear about this whole point. Because I'm working too hard. I've been believing too long. I got too much seed in the ground. And I'm about to see some harvest come up. And I don't have time to have some unbelievers trying to undo what I tried to plant. I've already planned. I've already believed God for breakthrough and believed God for overflow and believed God for prosperity. And in the midst of this, I'm not going to go back and hang around folk who are going to try to undo and dig up what I put down in the ground. How many of you are ready for some harvest in here? How many are ready for some abundance in here? You can some seed in the ground. So the idea here, so it's not just talking about, now again, dating and marriage certainly includes this, but it's talking about across the board as well. Now, for the sake of illustration, we're going to focus on dating and relationships. Everybody think about that. But the idea, I just want to be clear, it's more than just dating and more than just this idea about marriage as well. So let's read it. So read this with me right here. Young ladies and unmarried ladies, keep going. Stop making excuses for staying in these no good, stagnant relationships. Don't be so infatuated with the idea of love, that you settle. Marrying them surely won't help the situation. Let go of the wrong one so God can give you the right one, because being equally yoked is so important. Anybody give God a hand clap of praise that idea as well? This message right here. Let's read the last part here. Being unequally, this read what it says, but don't think. Don't think just because someone is saved and single that you're equally yoked.
Amen. Amen.
Okay. I'll talk to that later. All right, so let's keep on this one. Stop looking for loopholes and accept what the Bible clearly states. Do not be unequally yoked with an unbeliever. Pray for them and be the light to them, but you cannot date them into the kingdom. There are a whole lot of folk who want to start getting holy because you holy. A whole lot. You go to church, they can't spell church, but now they want to start going. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't have an influence, but here you are trying to go out here and seek God's face. At some point, I can't be unequally yoked with somebody who's always holding me down when I'm trying to go up. Come on, somebody. I can't be unequally yoked with somebody who's always trying to take me down when I'm trying to go up. At some point, there has to be clarity about saying I'm going to be equally yoked across my life in every area of life as well. Keep read that one, please. Marry your equally yoked best friend. It will save you from meeting the complete stranger in the divorce court. Oh, glory. Well, felt something right there. All right, so this is a confession for this year. So this is where we have been. 2008 confession. Repeat this. Let's say this together. I operate in a spirit of what? Acceptance. In other words, a believer cannot just be average. We are operating with exceptional excellence. Exceptional. Keep going now. Read this together. God is invoked, and I am provoked to be yoked. That's what I'm going to go back. And then our subtitle is what? Living in agreement with God. I want to just give God, I want to praise God for the privilege of even having, there are times when technology works well. This time last week, we could not get out here, but we had a chance to lift up the word, and many of you all watched by Periscope. Please give God another hand clap of praise. I just praise God for that being a wonderful opportunity to do that as well. But so what I want to do is I want to highlight just a few points we talked about last week and build on where we were 2 weeks ago, a little from last week, and go forward now. So here's our subtitle. Living in agreement with God. Say it with me one more time. Living in agreement with God. One more time. Living in agreement with God. So this idea of being yoked is the ultimate, how do I live in agreement with God? So God is invoked. Let's go back very quickly. You have these in your notes already. Invoked. Invoke simply means to call on for aid. Call on for aid. So when someone is invoked, they say I need some help. And I know somebody who can help me. That's invoked. So this idea, so the action of call on somebody who's an authority for assistance. So if a boy falls down or a girl falls down, the first thing they're talking about, mama, they're calling on and asking for assistance from someone who can help. That's invoke. Then this idea of provoke, very quickly, you have this in your notes already. Provoke means to sharpen or to stimulate or to spur to action. To sharpen or to stimulate to action, to spur to action, or to sharpen. So in other words, that when somebody is provoked, it's meaning now something has happened that they're going to now act upon. Today, you all could have easily, everybody here could have easily stayed at home in the midst of all this, but you made your way out. You were provoked to come here because you know God had a word for you to help you make it through whatever you're going through. If somebody believes that, please give God one more hand clap. Praise God that God has a word for you here. So this poor boat means to give rise to something. And then